there when they had to go somewhere and they couldn't take me with them. So I would spend my time with Grandma and Auntie. And of course my parents had taught me English, but and Auntie and Grandma only spoke Spanish, but somehow I understood what was going on. I don't know why, but I knew everything. I understood what they were saying.
It's in the DNA. It's in the DNA.
Probably, it's a genetic memory. So there was no running water, so we had to go to the acequia to get water, and we bring it up in cubetas. This is what we done with cubetas. So this is a cubeta. And you'd go and, now maybe it was a little bit bigger, but you'd go and get water out of the ditch and it would bring water. We'd use the water to drink, to cook, to clean, to wash. So you'd have to go to the acequia, and the acequia was la acequia de la Cañada Ancha. And this acequia was one that was built or put in by the original settlers to Chimayo because they learned how to. The Spanish came with the skills that they learned from the Moors to put irrigation systems in. And so they, here they would take the natural runoff but make an irrigation ditches so that they could direct the water, the irrigation water. And so this was something that was very important to growing crops or whatever, that they weren't just dependent like the Indians were on rainfall. So they could irrigate their crops. So, and of course the Moors, you know that the Moors influenced a lot of the Spanish things because they occupied Spain for 8 centuries, from the 800s to the 8th century to the 16th century. So my aunt and I would, okay, so there was no indoor plumbing, so of course we had to use the toilet. We had to go to the excusado to go to the toilet. That was an outhouse. And thank goodness for the Presbyterians, because in the 1900s, they were the ones who introduced us to introduced outhouses here. Before there was designated areas to go to the toilet for men and for women out in the corral or whatever. So anyway, then the other thing was that, well, we didn't have any water, so to take a bath, well, they'd bring water from the ditch, but sometimes I would go out and I'd play and I'd get full of soquete. I'd get in the mud. And so my aunt says, well, we have to, tienes que bañarte en un cajete. So this is the cajete. So she'd bring up water, she'd fill up some bandejas, some big pans, and put them on the stove to warm the water. So that, and then she'd say, put the warm water in the cajete, and then I'd take a bath. This was the first hot tub in Chimayo. So anyway, and she would warm the water on the estufa de leña. So this was a wood stove. So if I stayed overnight, I probably would end up sleeping with my grandmother on her camalta. That was the term for a bed. Cama, and if you break it up, cama alta, it's like a high bed. But it was just a camalta. The cama, it wasn't a cama, it was a camalta. And my aunt would lend me one of the camisones of my grandmother, which a camisón is a nightgown, and these were these old flannel nightgowns, and I loved to wear these because they were so nurturing, so warm, and you'd get in with grandma, and that was the best place to sleep with my grandma. And of course, if there were cousins over, then my aunt said, well, okay, we're just gonna throw some colchones on the floor. Colchones were mattresses that were filled with wool. They made their own colchones, and so all the cousins would sleep like sardines on the colchon, and they put all kinds of cobijas on us, or fresadas. In the weavers, they're fresadas. That's a fancy word, but they were cobijas. They covered us, and they covered us with all these wool blankets. And we'd have a ball. We wouldn't go to sleep forever because we'd be sitting there. See, you notice that saying yes, because she was one of those. Although I'm a lot older than she is, but not a lot, but some. Anyway, it was fun.
And I was going to say, you better figure out how you're going to sleep because she'd pile more like cobijas.
You couldn't move.
Right?
And I purposely used some of these words that my aunt and my grandma used to describe these various items. And I have found out, as I studied all this, that these were old words. These were Spanish colonial terms. If you tried to talk Spanish either in Mexico or Spain, and you use these words, they look at you and they say, what hole did you come out of? What rock did you hit? Because these are very archaic. It's like going to England and talking English of Shakespearean English.
Yeah.
And so this was interesting. So, there's the cubeta, excusado, bandeja, estufa de leña, camisón. These are all Spanish colonial terms. Adobe, the adobe walls, or the acequia, those are Moorish terms. They came from they're Arabic. Soquete and cajete, like this. Soquete was the mud and cajete. Those are derived from Nahuatl, from the Aztecs. So the different cultures of just the words that we used is just kind of interesting. So I love to hear my grandmother tell folk tales. And she would tell folk tales like Maria Linda. This was the Spanish version of Cinderella. And Juan Tonto y Manifachito, or Pedro de Malas. And Pedro de Malas was my favorite. And I'd have her tell it over and over. Anda, otra vez, por favor. We didn't even say por favor, we just said otra vez. And so she'd tell it. And Pedro de Malas was this rogue who did funny things. He did mischievous things. And he worked for a king and a queen. And so this was a real great tale that I enjoyed and would laugh. And so when I got older and I happened to look through a book that I have, Cervantes, of Miguel de Cervantes, some of his writings. Well, lo and behold, I find the comedies. One of the comedies is Pedro de Malas. So this was a folk tale that I learned, that I heard, that my grandmother carried on and kept going, but it was written. It was like something that was written in Spain in the 16th century. That's what I forgot to do, but that's all right. But then I became, when I became old enough to do chores, so then they'd start telling me, "Corre barrer el patio con la escoba." Corre. What kind of, go and look that up in the dictionary in Spanish, but you're not going to find curre. Unless you look it up in the Spanish, Ruben Cobo's Spanish dictionary of northern New Mexico and southern Colorado. Because this is an old archaic term for corre, or like go out to the patio. The patio is not the patio where we have barbecue and flagstone. It was the yard. So all this yard I had to go out in the front, go and sweep. And they have these, La Escoba was one of these brooms that they built with, or that they made they tied together a bunch of certain grass. And that's what they would use to. So you get all the extra stuff out of the patio. You'd barrerla el patio. And, or they say, okay, vamos a escarbar la huerta de Chile. I mean, let's go out and hold the chili huerta. They plant chili. But I always hated that when my dad said, we're planting chili and we have to go out and that's the reason they had so many children, because they needed to have it work. I mean, they had no TVs, but they had a lot of children. Go out and Polo de Chile or whatever it is. Anyway, I learned a lot of philosophy from my father hoeing the Chile, because here we were, and oh God, I hate this, and I have to go and make sure you don't cut the plants, the weeds, you know, and this and that. And I said, listen, look at what I have, look at the huertas way over there, and we're still over here. And he said, don't look where you're going, look where you've been, what you've done. And that's a philosophy that I still use in my present life. Don't worry about where you're going, look where you've been. And you have a sense of accomplishment or something. Anyway, well, I put notes because otherwise I can start talking on stuff and then this will never end. Well, so one of the most important activities, of course, during any day that when I was staying at my aunt's and my grandma's was to eat. I mean, they had 3 square meals, and it was at certain times. It wasn't like this, oh, are you hungry or not? No, you ate, or else, you know, you had to go out and work. You couldn't. So in the morning, and try to sleep late, she said, ven a almorzar, ven a almorzar. Almorzar. Well, now if you go to Mexico, almuerzo is kind of lunch. But almorzar over here was breakfast. And so you went to almorzar. Then at noon, especially, that was the big meal. And if they had workers or whatever, they would tell me, corre a llamar los peones para que vengan a comer. So go get the peones. The peones were the workers, or maybe shareholder, or whoever was helping with they were the peones. And it's not peon, like in English, peon. It's P-I-O-N, peon. And so it's kind of an interesting thing. That's very Spanish colonial. If we start peon, they take it bad. You know, that these we're kind of like a sharecropper or something like that. That was the connotation. Anyway, and then at dinner, they'd say, "Arrímense a la mesa a cenar." I always remember Victor because he always said, "Arrímense." He remembers that word all the time. And now it's to get close to the table, come to the table, and let's eat dinner. And so the food that was prepared was quite unique also. A staple food at every meal was chile. So there was always a bowl of red chili, or there was always chili, red chili, green chili, whatever. And then, of course, a big charola, another Spanish word, Spanish colonial term for a big bowl of bean, of frijoles. The frijoles were Aztec. They learned how to eat frijoles here with the Indians.
Yep.
Then they'd have either pan, bread, or tortillas, but they were wheat. This is very Spanish colonial because most of the Indians, but tortillas came from Mexico from the Indians, but here in New Mexico, they made mostly wheat tortillas, wheat. And of course, these things were not gluten-free; they were full of gluten. So you couldn't even think about that. We didn't know what gluten was. Anyway, the thing was, yeah. So okay, then sometimes they make chaquehue. Chaquehue is a cornmeal mush. That's from the Aztecs, but they're really great for the elders who had lost their teeth. They couldn't chew real hard meat or anything like carne machucada if it was dry meat that was kind of pounded so that it was easy to chew with it or whatever, gum. Anyway, this is how they fed the elders.
Or atole?
Chaquehue.
Oh, no, but also atole is like that.
Yeah, atole is like that too. It can be drank or eaten or whatever. And of course, there's always a big puela de papas fritas. Puela, if you say puela now, what is that? Those are sartenes. But a puela was a big frying pan of papas fritas. Well, where the heck did the papas come from? Lo and behold, they came from South America, and the Spanish from the conquistadores. They introduced potatoes to the world, and so that's kind of interesting. It became
So the
staple
Irish
food.
didn't have potatoes before the New World?
No,
So what
That
did
was
they
a New
do?
World product.
they didn't. It wasn't because that was when St. Patrick took out the steak and potatoes. St. Patrick took the steak and potatoes out of Ireland.
No
They were snacks and potatoes.
Steaks and potatoes.
Okay, never bad joke. So for dessert, most people believe a lot of things I say, but then they learn that they better not. Then for dessert, they'd have maybe buñuelos. Buñuelos, well, shoot, that's the origin of these sopapillas, or the Indian fried bread. They were just, it was rolled out, cut into quarters, and they would be fried, and then the buñuelos, of course, will then be soaked with caramelized sugar or syrup or something like that. Or then, of course, we have natillas. Those are very Spanish colonials, milk pudding that could have been. And then there's, capirotada, there's several, but I was just picking out a few of these things. So then I remember seasonal activities. During the year, there were certain things that happened at certain times of the year. In the spring, we'd have to shear sheep because that's when, right before the sheep actually start lambing, it's good practice to shear them first because the wool will be better, and also it's more hygienic for them to have the lambs. So of course with the fleeces, they would use that to spin and card, because my family are weavers, and they would spin and card the yarn, make yarn to weave. But sometimes you can't use all the wool in the fleece, because even there's some that are they're cut short, or the belly wool. But what would happen was they'd gather that and they'd wash that wool with amole. Amole was a part of the yucca root that they learned from the Indians how to make soap. And so they'd wash the wool with the amole, and of course use the belly wool, or the wool that wasn't really good for weaving, to stuff colchones or almohadas. Almohada is a very Arabic term for pillow, and it's spelled Almamuada, almohada. That's very Arabic. Now today's almohada or pillow is Almohada. It's a different, but it's basically from the old. It's a Moorish term, but it's been it's evolved. So then they would, if they killed a sheep or they slaughtered a sheep, they would skin it, and they'd use the wool that it was not sheared. They'd use it as a salea, and the saleas were, you've seen these sheepskins that have it's a lambskin underneath, but it has the wool, and those are used for to lay the babies on, the kids. They lay on the salea.
The human babies or the?
No, the human babies.
Oh, the human?
Yeah, I mean, for the kids, human babies. What kind of babies were we trying to include?
Oh, but you said kids, I thought you meant.
Well, yeah, maybe you could put a goat on there. These guys really weren't into goats. Yeah, well, that's another story. Planting was also done in the spring, chili, corn, and all that kind of stuff. So then, in the summer, it was time for harvesting green chili. And they'd pick the green chili, and then they'd roast it in an horno. We have a great picture of our aunts roasting chili in an horno, and then they'd peel it. And then they would peel it, and then they'd hang it to dry, because there was no freezers at that time.
So even the green chili.
Yeah, and so that's the way they so also they had the corn that they would shuck, this hojad corn, and then, or else they could leave it unshucked, and they put that in the horno and make chicos. And that was the way the Indians taught them to preserve the corn. So fall was a time for tying red chili into ristras. They'd spend tons of time, piles of red chili that they would tie into ristras, because that's when the time came to dry. And you'd also ir al monte para las vacas, go to the to the mountains where they had summer pasture for all the cows that they would take up there in spring to bring down from pasture, and then they'd select the most fattened calf and they'd slaughter it. And of course, that was a whole thing because they used the hide to make pewas. They use everything of the cow, and so the skin. This is hard rawhide, and then these are Indian. They're called moccasins, or what our people. The Spanish colonial term was pewas because it was kind of like the Indians made, but they were also, and who were tewas, T-E-W-A-S, but these were teguas, T-E-G-U-A-S. So that was kind of an interesting thing. Then they also used the intestines of the cow, and they would blow, they would take a shin bone that was hollowed out, and they could blow into the intestines and they'd fill it with air. They'd tie it and they'd dry it, and those would be used for sausage casings that they'd use later when they killed the pig, which I'll explain later. And so they used everything, and the meat they'd descortizado. They would quarter it, and then they'd take the meat and they would spend a long time cutting it in a certain way to make like jerky, to jerk it. They'd sprinkle salt and they'd hang it up in the attic, and they'd make carne seca. And that's how they survived the thing. So then in November, the late November, when it get colder, they would kill a pig, a matanza. And it was a big old thing because first of all, they'd get these calderones to fill them with water. These big cauldrons of brass or copper, and they fill them with water to heat the water over the coals. And then they'd make a table-like structure to put the pig. They'd lay the pig on there, put a knife into the jugular, and then of course collect the blood and in a bandeja. And they'd make morcilla with it. They'd make morcilla with it, which was a blood sausage. They put a little bit of chicharrones and chili, and then they'd fill the blood. Those sausages, the intestines that they had dried from the cow, they'd fill that with blood sausages, and then they'd bake it. Oh, those are really good. Well, you have to acquire a taste. I mean, my favorite thing.
Still acquiring.
The sheep, another thing, they slaughter the sheep. They take the tripas, or the intestines of the lambs, and they'd wash them real good. And they dry them, and then, well, they wouldn't dry them, they'd use them they'd wrap them around some fat from the sheep, and they'd put those in the oven. Those were boriñatas. Those were delicious. But of course, then again, you have to acquire a taste for that. I mean, it's like scotch. I mean,
no, it's not.
Okay, so the favorite thing that I liked, of course, were the horses. And when I was 2 or 3, my aunt, she had a big old half-draft horse that she used to plow. His name